You're going to have NVIDIA in sync. You're going to have Oracle in sync, Amazon in sync. And check Microsoft. Let me check Microsoft real quick. I always have trouble finding. There's Microsoft 525. It's still on the bearish side. The Meta is looking good. 770 looking good. I'll check Tesla real quick. Tesla looks good. Berkshire, which has been bearish for going on 3.5 months. Berkshire, if you look at Berkshire today, yeah, it's still bearish. It's below its opening. Our NNE looks good. I just went through some of the stocks. We'll go through it in a second, okay? And gold went higher. We talked about gold having a rally, and it's about 50 right now. I think it's setting up for a big run after this run. But generally speaking, what happens is the market has to breathe, and the market's breathing right now, and we'll go through that when we go live. But I'd like to get into the slides and do that. As soon as this is over, I'll be in a car, in communication with my team to make sure I'm on top of everything. But I feel pretty good with what I've seen. And thank you, Chuck, for being here. And Jennifer says she made money in her sleep last night. That's the way it's supposed to be, isn't it? Okay. Tonight I'll be eating at Dreamland Barbecue with several of the people that helped me start and work at DTI, Chuck being one of them. And I'm looking forward to that. So let's just go through the risk in the market. Past performance is not indicative of future results. In my opinion, we're in a bull market. 7 out of 10 days is going to be higher. We got to plan on that. But always remember, the reference bars is your best gauge of the short term. Does everybody understand that point by looking at today's market? How it sifts out all the information and tells you if you want to get in or protect yourself and all that. It's right there. I'm happy to report our class had 5 trades on. Small class had 5 trades on, made money on 4 of those 5 overnight. Pretty good deal with our class that we just done. They're smiling, I'm sure. They followed the 3 phases. Monday and Friday of the month, August 11th, we're here, train and trade. Last night, I just can't define how important it is to have a futures account. If you're in my futures education, post some of the stuff that y'all did last night where they can copy and paste it and show it to people just how valuable it is to be in futures on a night like last night. I mean, we're talking about a nonstop run from last night to this morning's high. It was tremendous. 50 something points, okay? And in TNT last night, I bought TQQ. I forgot about that when it went up to 92. I'm out of that now. Timothy said in the futures, he got his scholarship for the year last night. Way to go, Timothy. Training's outstanding if you're in futures to do stuff like that. What a night we had, right? Okay, we had a spread that filled, E-mini, NASDAQ, all that stuff. Beautiful. It was just beautiful. Monday through Friday of the month, August 11th. Okay, looking good. I built quite an educational curriculum there. Monday through Friday in the month, August 11th. We told you we made a successful trade on our 1 ticker program yesterday. We did it again this morning, got out at our target. We did great there. And let's look at what's setting up now after we've had 3 days. This is the foundational sheet for the month. I just had Jonathan print it off, put it on my clipboard. It will be traveling to Mobile with me. So Jonathan, let's go through it.
All right, Tom. This was updated at 10:54, so about 12 minutes ago.
All right, notice the NASDAQ stronger than E-mini. That's what I get from that. Notice that crude oil it's headed to $45 a barrel. You know how I know? Ask me how I know it's headed to 45. Just ask me. Somebody ask that question. How do I know it's going to 40? Well, I've been following it for 25 years. It's so short, and 45 is a good stopping point when the price of it falls. Watch and see how close we get. Okay, pretty good stuff, right? Jeanette, Dr. Jeanette says, "How are you such a genius?" It's not that I'm a genius. I've lost so much money over the years. I learned from my sticking my hand on the stove and getting it burnt. I remember things. Gold's bullish. I think we're going to take out. If we can go up. I think we're going to good. Okay. Silver looks good. I told you silver was hot. Nvidia, my number one stock of the year. I've got it in every account I own. I've got the dividend play. By the way, if you want to jump on the dividend train for Nvidia, you buy it on Friday, you get your dividend on Tuesday. Okay. Juan, we'll give you the spreadsheet. All you got to do is he'll put the link in there, and we update it every time we're live. So it's a heck of a free service we provide for people. Okay. Palantir is a heck of a stock. It's rocking and rolling, 182 new highs. Tesla's good. RTX is a short right here. Let's keep going down. All right, we got MicroStrategy turned bullish. That's Bitcoin. BitO turned bullish. That's Bitcoin, and IBIT is turned bullish. Dave, a stock that I really like. It's going down. I'll stay away from it. Circle stock I really like. It's been falling out of bed now for greater part of about 30 days. CoreWeave finally got a bid, and the shorts are going to start paying there. I'm going to look at CoreWeave for next week. Cisco, I've got a position in Cisco. Okay. I pretty well follow this sheet with positions. That's the way I do it. Okay. So if you know what I'm thinking, look at this sheet. And it might be worth your time based on what we were able to do. Okay, we got coming down the thing, QQQ's bullish. The SPY's bullish. XSP's bullish. USO is bearish. That's oil. WPM, I told you to be long WPM. Look at WPM. John, what do you think of that? That was a heck of a call at the first of the week, wasn't it? WPM, look at that. Whoa. Ethereum, I'm long Ethereum, a couple ways. Amazon is now long. That's big, folks. It's done a reversal intra-month. It's back in play. There's a video long. Magnificent 7 looks good, and Tesla looks good. That's sort of the spread. Well, what do you do with that information other than me telling you it's long or short? Today's lesson is on what you do with it, okay? So let's go look at a few slides we put together. Don't you love that TQQ? I love it. 24 hours a day. 3 strategies I find very lucrative. Learn to follow them. In a bull market, focus on put spreads. Put spreads are bullish ways to make money each week. If you don't know what a put spread is, I'd refer you to optionplaybook.com. It's free. It's on the web. It explains terminology and stuff. It's one of the best well-written books I've read in my career on different strategies and stuff. If you're a member of our services, I've got a video series called Options Made Simple. If you watch and learn there, you won't get a better education on how to do options. Here's an example of what I mean on strategy number 1. Okay, find a stock that's above the high of the first 3 days and trending higher. That's step 1. We just did that looking through all those stocks, right? Everybody understand that? That stock is set up for the month of August when it does that, okay? That's step one. Step two, during the week, if the stock exceeds Monday's high, then I look to sell a put spread. Okay, so today is Thursday, so I started doing this on Tuesday. Okay. Everybody understand that step? Microsoft marked a high on July of 500. Wednesday, July the 9th, the stock opened at 530, which is above the 3-day high. If you go back and look in your account, those that listen, we sold put spreads on Microsoft. There it is, $495.95. See how easy that was? 8% return on risk that week we did at Moonlight Trading Club. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You got income opportunities by using this sheet, rolling it into this strategy. Any questions about that? That's one way to make money off the sheet. How many people are happy I'm doing this? Okay. All right. Here's the good part. Finding options anywhere between 25 cents and $5. Here's an example of what I mean. Dr. Jeanette, you got to get down here face to face. Just ask people to come, put your name, phone number in there, and have one of the people talk to you. Get down here, and I will teach you more in 2 days, and you'll learn in a year. That's a promise. Since the market is clearly bullish, we look out 15, 30 days to find a low price option. Oracle marked a high on 237.99 in July. Monday the 28th, the stock made a high at 247.78. On Tuesday, July the 29th, the stock opened at 248.70, which was the focus of my connect the dots on that day in that session. I bought a low price option and sold it for $1.57 for a 27% return on Oracle. Remember, everything comes from the 3-day. I add and subtract tickers to it throughout the month. Okay? That's a nice trade. I remember making it. Now, strategy number 3 is out there on the limb. It's where I use call options anywhere from $1 to $5. Here's an example of what I mean. AMD on August 22nd fell into the buy category. I know this stock will rock and roll if it goes into the buy. Entry was $1.10, sold it for $1.44 for a 31% return on risk. $1,000 risk turns into $310 profit. Now, that's how the setups come. Has anybody ever heard me say I do a lot of watching on Mondays? Anybody ever heard that? Okay. And I do. I do a lot of watching on Mondays. Okay. Now, folks, I want to switch our focus to a topic that has everyone excited. Let's talk Futures First education. How many people here would like to learn futures the right way? To use futures for what I would say for your stock trading, option trading? Who would like to learn that the right way? Well, there's risk involved in futures. There's actually less futures risk or less future, or there's less risk in futures there are in stocks because you got 24-hour access to futures. Now, I've taken the last 2 years, put together a curriculum, and I've taught people how to take advantage of the market during a 24-hour market. Not just for those type trades, but for weekly trades, monthly trades, trends, all that. I teach it all. Educational how to trade the market anytime, day or night. So this way you're not worried about time. With futures, you really begin to be an expert on timing. They'll tell you when you meet them face to face, I might be one of the best market timers around. That's what they say. They usually give me, if I say, hey, 0 to 10, how good am I? Let's do it for the fun of it. those that trade futures with me, give me, okay, give me a rating 0 to 10 on my market timing. This is what you want to be. There's a 10, there's 11. Jennifer gave me 11. Way to go, Jennifer. I like getting. See, Rob gave me a 10 plus. Carol just beat Jennifer, gave me a 30. Copy and paste that, let them see how powerful this is. They need to know just how powerful this is. We call it Futures First. The 24-hour markets, how we do the week and how I trade. That's pretty impressive. So what is Futures First Education? It's a very organized way that I teach people. I built my career trading futures. I retired from it. I used to own a brokerage firm, and I got brought back in by a doctor. One of our students wanted me to teach it to him because he had to work during the day, and he knew that futures he could trade if he knew how to do it. He's a pretty good trader in his own right now after I taught him. Now, I closed it out. I really had done, I still traded futures, but I called myself retired. I was an exchange member and did all that stuff. And I called myself retired, and I said, I might do it if you get 10 people in that class. He solicited 9 other people. They wanted to go. And we had a class. I see some of those people here today. David's here. Little Dave. But if you follow my thinking, why not have all the tools, have everything? You worked hard for your money. How about improving your odds on your success? Who wants to improve your odds on their success? This is how you're going to do it. Next slide, please. So I started this program two years ago. Oh, it was tough building these courses because I was trying to put it together. I was no longer in Mobile, had everybody in the same room with me. It was really like pulling hair, getting it done. I finally got it done. And yes, people tell me they're glad I did it. So I'm sharing it with you today. So out of retirement, I came. I taught my first futures class in years. It was a big success. Everybody in that first futures class, small class, signed up for another one. For the past 12 to 18 months, I've been teaching it. But I had to organize it where it would be good for you. And I've got a whole bunch of classes I've taught already. I'm building every Monday night. I do education, teach people what's hot and what's not, how to hedge their portfolio. You better learn that, by the way. Okay. But here's some of the topics. How to trade that first hour of the cash market. You need meaning MES. Gold. I love gold's about to come back in play. I'll show you how to take the market's money and use the market's money to speculate with. Anybody want to learn that? We'll get in my futures. I'll be teaching that this coming Monday night. Crude oil options. I told people at the first of the year, crude's going to provide a mega trade. We're about setting up for it, getting very close to do that trade. I've been promising people. Yeah, I trade silver and silver options. I love silver. Anyway, some of the subjects we have, the bonds, they will come into play before the end of the year in the first quarter of next year. The bonds, how I post things in Telegram to understand what I do. Now I use Tasty Trade to teach futures because Tasty Trade is probably the simplest futures platform out there to use. They tell you where you're wrong. They tell you where you're right. They tell you the money. You don't have to do any heavy math to figure it out. It does it for you, and I love it. I traded Tasty Trade this morning a little bit. Okay, pretty cool stuff. That was Tasty Trade. So, everybody like that? That's good. Okay, let's keep going. Futures first, in my opinion, understanding futures is a gateway to the rest of the stock market. Like I'm doing a trade today called Train and Trade with you. I'm doing it because of what the futures market's telling me. Okay, you'll see in a second. Stay with me. We all going every Monday night at 7. We'll record it. We can watch it. We have a 24/7 room in futures. I cover Bitcoin in there also. I hadn't done the class on, I've been waiting on it, but I'm gonna do it. Training on Monday night at 7, and insights posted in Futures First throughout the week, and Telegram between 8 and 9 on Monday when needed to show, hey, you ought to take advantage of this trade. I love it. You gotta love it too. Okay. We have a Futures First Telegram. I love Telegram. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but I like Telegram because I can reach out and touch you anytime, day or night. If you're up, I will do it. I will do it, do it, do it. So anyway, that is the beautiful thing about futures and all the things that go into futures, right? Okay. I want everybody to get that, okay? Now, does everybody follow me along? If you join today to the end of the year, it costs you $749. You should take the annual subscription. I think once we cross a sudden benchmark, I'm going to raise those prices. You know, the early guys were paying $1,000 a month for the training. It's a lot better now, but they were there first. They got their money back because I showed them how to do it. Get involved. Get involved with Futures First right now. Don't wait. Be there Monday night when the trade of the week. My guess is if you get involved, we'll work on getting your annual subscription taken care of pretty quick in this kind of market because the market is really lucrative, very lucrative. Okay. If you don't want to pony up the whole thing, take it to the end of the year. If you attend one of our in-person classes, this is where I teach you in person, I exempt you from your online subscription plan. How about that? So a big bonus is sign up for a class. We have a few seats available in September, a few in October, a few in December. But sign up for a class, and then they'll immediately give you access to the room online until I see you in person. We just completed a futures class. You know, every person in that class signed up to come back for another one because Neil was new to futures. He's here. Neil was one of the new people. He told me he didn't hesitate. He signed up for 2 classes in the future. What do you think of that? That's pretty strong, isn't it? You won't get this training anywhere else. So here's your chance to be involved. Again, I would sign up for the class and get exempted from the subscription. But if you don't want to come, sign up for the subscription. Okay? Now do me a favor. I don't want anybody to miss because there might be a special trade tonight that I put in there. And the reason I say that, I'll be in Mobile like old times, and I'm gaining an hour, so I might want to post something in future. So get signed up at dtitrader.com/futures, or you can call 904-706-3532. The fastest way, if you want one of those classes, is put your name, email, and phone number in here, and they'll call you and get you booked and get you taken care of, okay? For your schedule, plus you'll be in that class Monday when I do the education. But if you get in there, you'll see how it operates tonight, okay? Simple, straightforward. Pretty good stuff, wouldn't you say? Somebody's going to educate you and then show you how to get what I call the old proverbial scholarship pretty quick, okay? That's the beautiful thing about it. Any questions about my Futures First? SP said he signed up for another year last week. He knows I'm gonna raise the price. I will because I'm doing it online. I wasn't even offering online, but there was so much demand. I really wanted everybody to come face to face. That was my goal because that's a lot more fun to get you up to speed quicker. I like to get places fast and up to speed is a quick way to go. Yeah, Jonathan, somebody wants to see the class dates again, where they can write it down, the class dates. There's the class dates. I hadn't put out next year yet, but if you do sign up for a class next year, okay? You'll get first opportunity once I post that in about a month. Yep, that's it. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm getting ready to leave for Mobile, but I'm gonna leave you a part and give. So I'm gonna give you 7 minutes to make your mind up. Be sure to post your email, phone number if you want somebody to contact you and come into my futures world. Post that in there. Post your email and phone number if you want somebody to contact you where you can get your questions answered. Jonathan, why don't you put a 7-minute timer up? We're going to go live and I'm going to show everybody a trade I'm going to put out there. We'll track it in my TNT and we'll do that in the next 7 minutes. Then I'm heading out, going down the highway. Six and a half minutes to make a decision. I love it. Jennifer, I think I'm headed to the west. I don't think I'll come by you. I'm on I-10. Does not mean I won't eventually do that. You know, I know sometimes laying back, not taking action, Joe's coming for a one-on-one. Yep, yep. What I'm going to teach you today when that clock runs out is how to take a stock that was bearish and catch it when it's ready to move. Okay? Everybody got it? By having the correct process in trading, it really does work. Okay? Right. Chuck's going to come on after me. He's got a lot to talk about. I asked him to do a special topic. If I want to do the trade, is that okay? I do the trade before I get out of here. I'm about to hit the highway. Chuck is brilliant, and I want y'all to listen to him because Chuck helped me start DTI many years ago.
Listen, Tom, most of us who work for you found out a long time ago. We just follow your schedule and it's profitable. So we're gonna stick with that. You make the decisions.
Yeah, Debbie wants somebody to call her about futures class. Hey, Debbie, you do need to get down here. Absolutely. Anybody's got an AOL email, rare. Before I go, does everybody like the job Jonathan and Chuck and Adam are doing? They're doing a great job on it, keeping everybody informed, to keeping us going. They're really doing good. You got to remember these guys, they're always helping me execute the team at DTI. Way to go, Polly. Dave, that's nice to say. Hey, before I go, let me ask you a question. Do you like what we're doing and got any input the way we're running the train and trade? Do you like what we're doing here? Any suggestions, you ought to send us an email because I'm open. I just want to make sure we're doing, if I'm tied up in here doing this, I want to make sure you're getting some value that you really like. Okay? Yeah. Yep. 11 o'clock. Okay, let's go. Jonathan, I'd like to go to the E-mini and talk about it. Then I'd like to go to AMD.
All right, Tom, here's a 30-minute chart of the E-mini.
If you look at the E-mini, we're entering what's called the Genesis hour. The E-mini needs to go above, what's the high of Genesis so far? Can you tell me?
Yeah, the high of Genesis so far is 63.67.
Huh?
If you can hear me, it's 63.67.
And what's the bar prior to that? How high is that? 73?
75.
All right, 75 is when the market quits selling, they start buying it at this time of day. Does everybody understand that? I would deem the market's ready to go back up and retrace back up to the low of RB3. Where's the low of RB3?
That's right around your pivot or so. It's 97, 63, 97.
95. So from about 75 to 95, and then there we have to look at it. But that's it. Now let me tell you how I do a setup. Here's AMD, please. AMD.
This is a 30-minute
AMD.
chart of AMD.
There's a 30-minute chart. How high did it go?
It could just be me, Tom, but I'm
AMD.
losing your mic. It could just be me, but you're kind of fading out. Can everybody hear Tom? Tom, say something for us.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's better now. Yeah, better now.
Okay. Okay, let's get the high of AMD.
175.72.
175.72. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Jonathan, if it goes to 175.72, I want to buy in TNT. I want to buy the September 5th option the 220 call. Currently, it's about 65 cents. Okay? But I don't want to buy it until it triggers above 175.73. Everybody understand that? Now, I will follow this trade in my TNT, or Jonathan will, and Jonathan will post it if it goes above that number. Everybody understand that? The only thing that would keep him from doing that trade, if the E-mini does not reverse and continues to make low, then he'd back away and wait. This is a good trade that we're going to set up that way. Everybody understand the setup on AMD? So 1231 gets above 175.73. He'll be putting the trade on as long as the E-mini is not making lows or continue to make lows below Genesis. That's my trade of the day. It'll be in TNT. It's what I'm posting these things in TNT because I want you to join my TNT when you can. Okay? Jonathan, I'm going to turn it over to Chuck. And I'm going to say, as I always say, I'll see you on the flip side.
All right. Thank you, Tom. And tell you what, Jonathan, I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, Jennifer, send Roe at DTI Trader, and he'll send you the referral code for Tasty Trade.
Okay, so Jonathan, I'll go ahead and take over the screen sharing if you're all right with that. Okay, so you guys should be able to see my screen at the moment. But you see that I call it the dark roadmap. This is what I use in planning when we do our pre-market planning at night. Just want to check and make sure that everybody's seeing the image and everybody can hear me. So if you could let me know in the chat room, that would be great.
Hey, Chuck, I can see your screen and I can hear you loud and clear.
Yep. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to kind of put a plan together about the market. And let's see. I guess that answers the question in the little chat room over there. All right. So first of all, there's going to be what you're looking at, and this is sort of my baseline screen that I'm using to do a bit of analysis here. We look at the ETR page in the roadmap software. You can see all the red in here right now. That kind of is telling you what those charts are doing. I get to see it in markets that I don't have charts on. That's the advantage of the ETR page. And I can, of course, switch these charts over pretty quickly. Custom page, these are the markets that I'm paying the most attention to as we go through. Kind of got it separated out. The futures indices up at the top, the big four U.S. futures indices, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the Russell futures. Come down, look at a few commodities. You'll notice gold, silver, crude, and of course bonds. Not really a commodity, but still fits into that group for me. ETFs, Spider, Diamond, QQQ. Some would probably argue I should probably keep the IWM in there. It's a fair argument. And I'm going, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make a change real quick. Show you how to do this in roadmap software. If you've got everything broken up, we'll just go to the right click menu, one of the great tools of the software. We'll insert a row. I want the QQQ a little bit higher actually. And you can just type the symbol in to that newly inserted row, IWM. And there we go. So all set. Whenever you make a change you want to keep, make sure you go back and save your workspace. All right, real quick. So also have a couple stocks that I'm paying attention to. NVIDIA, AMD, Apple, kind of right at the top, and then a few others down along the bottom. And you can scroll the page down, see a bit more information. I don't have too much information there, but focused on what we need to focus on. So when I come in and go to make a pre-market planner, this is the pre-market planner that you'll see. This is the base information that we started with last night, which was the data for August for the S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, DAX, Eurostoxx, and Russell. Can you email a workspace or share it to roadmap users I think, Jonathan, isn't there a way we can make that available? Uh, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and you have to carry over all the settings. I find what's easier for me, Polly, is just to recreate based on the image. So if you want, I'll just pop the image up there real quick. But we do have this functionality where if you go to the launch menu, internet, there's an FTP connection that you can get to, and we should be able to we have a workspaces group there. So if you want, I can send in an updated version of this workspace, but there are things in it that you want, things in it that you don't. The workspace includes all the pages, not just a single page, but we can create something. It's a little bit of a workaround, a little bit of an effort, but I think we could probably do that so that you could access it from the FTP function. I'll get with Jonathan about that a little bit later. So that's the roadmap. Now, coming in, one of the first things I want to do is understand how the market moves. So I've got a separate tab on my roadmap software where I have my charts, which is basically a big chart of the S&P and then whatever I'm paying attention to, keeping an eye on Con Edison right now. I think they're reporting earnings this afternoon. So you get this big S&P chart, and when I bring up the review section, first thing I do every night is go through and rewrite this review following what the market's done. So we start with reference bar 3. If I'm doing this, if I want to do this partially, I'm not going to do that because I want to do everything tonight, but we would start with RB3 open at 64.07 quarter. The high was 64.1450. The low was 63.97 quarter. And then we look at what the market does next. And so far, we've got the market has moved down to so far 63.59.75. We'll see where that ends up. Let's see, major difference between a custom page and trade tracker page. Probably how customizable it is. The custom page, if I spread this out a little bit, I can look at more information. I can add in some columns, so I can get a whole bunch of information in here. And if I want to add in more columns, just go in, right click, and we'll go down to the column count. Currently at 9, but I can pop that up a little bit. Go out to, let's do 16. And then I get a couple blank columns. I can, it's just very customizable. I think that's the major difference. And for me, one of the main things I'm looking at is how do I understand this market better? So I'm looking at it more from the training side than anything else. All right, so back over on charts. So we see how that chart develops, and this is a 30-minute chart. It's basically the basis of understanding the market, and we build this little paragraph in here, but you'll notice the bolded numbers, that's really what I'm paying attention to. I'm looking for repetition. If it makes it easier for you guys, grab an Excel spreadsheet, type all these numbers in, sort them, and then you'll get to see what the market is showing us in terms of repetition. You'll notice one of the numbers we talked about last night, 75. You get 74 quarter right here, 75 over here. We get numbers around that area with the 77 down to 70.50, but really that 75 area was kind of catching our attention last night, paying attention to it. A few other numbers popped up, kind of hard to see. It's a lot easier to see when I've just typed it out, but basically 67, 66.75, and 67.75. So we look for that repetition. It's one of the key hallmarks to learning about what a market's showing you. And this runs into the cash close. You'll notice the close at the bottom of the paragraph, matching the close for the day, 63.70.75. Market, by the way, is still pushing down here, 63.61. Low of the Genesis bar is at 59.75. So always keeping track of that. So that's one of the main factors. Now, once we've got that paragraph done, we'll click back over to this main page and we'll take a look at, okay, so that's what the market did. Now, where is the market? And I'm doing this at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern. So this is actually kind of similar, except you'd be looking at PM numbers. So we look at 839, actually scroll that back a little bit, go 738, 830. And if I had to look at that time frame right there, and I see the S&P 08 quarter, 08, 7 quarter, 9 quarter, where would you think the pivot number should be based on that look in the market? Yeah, I'm going to get into all that. I want to get into how it's created first, Robin, because it's hard to know how to use it unless you know what it is, right? So if we're looking at the numbers here, we can kind of determine what makes sense as a pivot number. 2215. Yeah. Where's the, you going over into the Russell? So I would look at that and say it looks like the 6408 number was pretty big. 8 quarter, 8 even, 7 quarter. I've got a little bit going on around there. You can see the Dow 44503, so kind of sitting on that 500 almost. We look over at the NASDAQ, it's a little bit below 23.6, coming up to that. So I've got a couple of nice little pivot numbers here. Russell Futures, 2250 area. So you sort of scan through the market and you can see where some of those numbers are. Now, these ladders that we use, before I get to the ladders, I want to go ahead and do the things that are a little bit easier. First of all, news. We always want to be aware of any news that's coming out. I think we're done with most of our news. We still got consumer credit at the end of the day. And then Friday is no scheduled U.S. economic reports. So the earnings reports that we're getting this afternoon are going to be probably the key determinant factors to how this market closes out Friday, this afternoon's earnings, and then, of course, Friday morning earnings. Come down to the opens, and we're tracking the opens of various time periods here. The open of the year, the open of the quarter, the open of the week, the open of the month, the open of the session, which was 63.71. So we've got all that information there, and I'm stacking this in numerical order. You'll notice it's not necessarily in time order, but the open of the year and the open of the quarter are the two lowest prices. Of course, we dropped on that first trade day in August on Friday, so the open of the week below the open of the month, but the market has climbed back up 63.71, and we'll see if it can stake. Actually came down to a little bit below now, but 63.59.50. So where does this idea of 59 is a big number come from? Well, from there. Now, you don't always get everything matching up, and when I'm looking at the daily numbers, you'll notice I use 61 instead of 59.50. That might have been a little bit of a mistake, actually. I'll have to correct myself. But I'm always looking for a couple of big numbers to pay attention to. I think my focus may have been a little bit more on what would the market look like on the top side. So looking at that 64.19 quarter. Now, to create these ladders, or actually before we get to the ladders, let's go ahead and stay in here. Ranges. The first quarter of 2015, I've got all the months, April, May, June, July, and August. This will be compacted in a little bit. We'll shore up the second quarter to look at all that information with that high at 62.65.50 and the low at 48.30. And then move into July and August, 62.45.75, the open of July, also the open of the third quarter. And what's the big top end number? 64.68.50. What's the number that scares everybody on the lower end? We didn't quite get to it. 27 quarter. The month of August only got down to 62.39.50. You'll notice all the opens are bolded, but only some of the highs and some of the lows are bolded. The bolded number is one that has surpassed its previous time period. So the May high was higher than the April high. That's why that gets bolded. Same for June, same for July. Not yet for August, even though this number is a little bit higher. I'm just going to cheat a little bit here, 64.26.75. So update that, but it's still below 64.68.50. All right, so non-bolded means we have not exceeded either the high or the low of the previous time period. So with the ladders, ES ladder, we also do a SPY ladder. I'm going to put the pre-market planner down for a second, and show you the spreadsheet that I use. Bring this in. This is the Premium Railroad spreadsheet. Put that together to help me build the pre-market planner. You can see the ES ladder here. SPY ladder here is calculated. The ES ladder is not. Those numbers are typed in. It creates the grid down at the bottom, which you'll see at the top of the pre-market planner. So what we're doing is we try and figure out where the pivot number is based on the market that we're looking at the time. We went with 63.8550. Of course, the market moved up in overnight trading. Tom went with a little higher pivot this morning at 63.95. But the idea is to make things work. Can I put the spreadsheet in the chat? No, it's not a shared spreadsheet, Polly. There's no shared version of the spreadsheet. There's a shared version of PDFs. I could put a PDF of the most recent outcome in the chart, but no, I don't share the native file. So one of the things this spreadsheet is doing in the background, we keep a 20-day rolling average. You can see at the bottom, that's July 31st, at the top, August 1st. We've come down through August 6th. I use bold and non-bold just to help my eyesight to see where we are. But replace the 10th with the 7th and keep going until we get back down to the bottom, then go back up to the top. It's a rolling 20-day average, straight average, not average true range. Shows the current 20-day average of the S&P at 62.1. And again, that's a straight average, not an ATR. It's just find those 20 numbers, add them all up, divide by 20. That's how you get to the average of the past 20 days. That gives us an idea of how far down the market is reasonably capable of going and how far up it's reasonably capable of going. So these little sections here, both for the E-mini S&P, kind of give me a calculation where I can look at two different formats to see what the market's trying to show me. I think that second format would have worked a little bit better for the downside, 64.59, but went with this one here. And again, kind of convoluted calculations, but the calculations just give you kind of an eyeball. You'll notice we don't completely stick with that. Average true range telling me that I should look for a target at 63.23.4. I said the heck with that, 63.25 on the downside. On the upside, 64.48. I always throw in a bonus number, in this case, 64.6850, the high of the year. So we take these two ladders, or after they're calculated, just running the pivot numbers for most of these markets, but inputting the S&P numbers, because that's the market I kind of specialize in, and run that into the pre-market planner, and it gives you both the ladders. That's easy. But it also gives you that area at the top, which kind of shows you how the markets relate. Now, for the most part, what we're doing here is we're looking to see if everything is moving at the same pace. So you see the S&P at 63.65, and that's a little bit below that support one. How does that compare to the Dow, where the calculation last night was that 63.70 support in the S&P would be equivalent to 44.253. Looking over at the Dow futures at 44,000 even, the Dow's a lot weaker than the S&P. NASDAQ at 23.409, stronger. I don't have the DAX and the Euro stocks on this custom page because you need the European markets to get that. But the Russell futures, 22.24, weaker, right? So I can see relatively how these markets are moving. And I go in from that fixed point. Now we do fixed points throughout the day. That's where the reference bars come in, and the Genesis bar, which is just about formed up. But that principle of looking at numbers and relating them, I use the S&P because I think it is the broader market. It is the standard that everything else gets judged by, even if people outside the industry are not aware of that. People outside the industry mostly look at the Dow, and really it's shifting to a lot of people looking at the NASDAQ, but it's the S&P that is the heartbeat of the market, always has been, and will likely continue to be. Now, in addition to the pre-market planner, we also have a weekly planner that we put out. And let me see if I can go and find the most recent version of that. And it's done very much the same way, but everything is based on what the market looks like Sunday night. You'll see all the opens. We even have the open of July from the previous year. That's the halfway mark, so I kind of want to keep track of that. Open of the year, open of the quarter, open of the month, open of the week. Right, so we got everything filled in right now. Sometimes the open of the month and the open of the quarter are the same thing, so there's a little bit less information. Sometimes you have more news, sometimes you have less news. I've had news that filled up this whole area. But the bottom, we've got the previous week's information, and then we've got our ladder based on the open of the week is the pivot. That's not a calculated pivot. It's not an observed pivot. It's just that's what the pivot is. Where do you find the weekly planner? Well, if you're in your roadmap software, you go to your links menu and you'll see pre-market planner is your daily, weekly market planner is your weekly. So all that is in your roadmap software if you've got it. If not, go to wherever the pre-market planner is linked and you'll see the weekly market planner linked there as well. So if you're using OneClick, it should be in the same area. Will I ever do an in-person roadmap class? I've done them before. I think, Tom likes to handle a lot of that now. I think Jonathan and Jeff kind of take over that role. So they know just as much as I do, believe me. You hardly use it because you don't really know how to? Okay, well, yeah, it's an information tool. So to me, the biggest thing is the research capability. Let me finish up this weekly planner real quick. I realize we're about to wrap up the Genesis bar. And that's the pre-market planner. Let's close that one out. And we'll get to the weekly planner and blow this up a little bit so you can see it. So news, opens, the review, the ladder, and then the numbers at the top. This is really very simple stuff. Pre-market planner is a little bit more complicated. This is sort of a simplified version because a lot changes during a week. We want to keep things as simple as possible when you're dealing with a dynamic situation. You'll notice at the top it's got the dates on it. If the dates are incorrect, call me, let me know, because that probably means I had a typo. All right, we'll close that out and focus primarily in roadmap software for the last couple of minutes here, because I don't want to keep you guys too late. So a couple of the things that I like to do, number one, you'll notice when you're looking at my screens, I've got my two big charts, the E-mini S&P and the NASDAQ. Those are the markets I'm most focused on because I think they tell us the most about the market. But I also have tucked down here in the corner, this is a chart of the Russell 2000. These are all 30-minute charts. I was looking at this market this morning thinking, is it going to go higher? What's going on with the Russell? Is the market trying to go higher? Hey, the Russell's saying we're going the other way, guys, watch out. And the Russell broke down before the rest of the market. NASDAQ was actually breaking up at the time the Russell was breaking down. And so that showed you, hey, warning, hello, watch out. Where's the low of RB3? Let's see what the market does from here. So that's kind of the way that goes. You want to pay attention to enough stuff, but not too much stuff. The Russell is a great little confirming indication, and it was not confirming this morning. So throwing up some red flags. I've also got a time and sales window in here. It lets me know what time it is. This is Central Time. There's two functions for this. Number one, when that gets to 1 minute past, I know that roadmap's going to sling everything around. And actually, this one's live, so it slings everything a little bit early. But I get a sense of now there are steps I need to take, things I need to do. But also, when you get into those very slow markets, you've all seen them, and I'm wondering, wait a second, are we still updating? Yes, we are still updating. I can see the time clicking away, even if the price is not changing. The prices are changing today, so I don't need to worry about that. But you've all seen those slow markets. So time and sales lets me know that I'm not disconnected from my data. That's a good thing. Now, once I get that 1101, I'm going to click over to the ETR page, and this is the ETR in Roadmap software. So, Robin, to add time and sales, if you're on your custom page, let's go ahead and do that. Select the symbol inside the field that you want to look for. Usually the E-mini S&P is probably the best for time and sales. Right click and it'll be in that right click menu. So time and sales right there. Click that, it'll open up that window, and then you can just move it wherever you like. Okay, so back to the ETRs. You notice I got 3 of them, and they're the same symbols across the top. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this because this tells me about the Genesis bar. Give me just 1 second here. Move that out of the way. So now I've got a point in time that I'm going to go back and reference in just a few minutes. So with these ETR pages, one of the things I love about the ETR page, most people don't know all the functionality that you can use. But this one is the normal type of page that you'll see. Notice ETR, I've got open set, which is the name of this one, and it's looking at the opens. If you go in and right click, you have the option to show open, high, low, last, midpoint, range. I only deal with open, high, and low. So this ETR page, all these numbers in here are the opens. ETR page, the ETR line itself on the page is a live update. S&P futures currently trading at 63.58, 63.57. Come down to the one right below, and notice this is the high set, and this one, if we go over to show, you'll notice the little bullet there is on high. We're looking at the highs for each of these markets, and this one down here is set on low. So in this, I can come in and say the high of the S&P, or the open of the S&P for the Genesis bar was 63.63 quarter. The high of the Genesis bar, scroll this down, 63.67.75, and the low of the Genesis bar was 63.57. And since we're in a market that's moving down, I'm paying attention to that ETR level, but also to that mini pivot level. Notice the mini pivot, which is going to be the low of the current half-hour bar that you're in. It updates each minute. We've got red on the S&P, we got red on the NASDAQ, but our weaker market from this morning, the Dow, is actually trying to hold up. It's green. All right, so I look down here in a negative move. I want as much red as I can find on that line. In a positive move, I go up to the high line and I look for as much green as possible. So the opens kind of slants me, and then the high, if it's going up, great. If we got a lot of red in here, this is not a positive market, obviously. Yeah, my times are central. I'm on central time. And then the low, gold is showing up green, and then we have a few stocks that are actually kind of green. Notice Apple kind of bucking the trend, trying to stay up. Look at that, higher low all the way through. AMD starting to show that. Tesla starting to show a little strength. Over on the high side, Apple's looking a little bit better than the other markets. So we get a little scattered when we get into our stocks, and you can kind of see that, plus gold, which tends to be a contrarian indicator. Now, also early this morning, I want to pay attention to Sunrise, and had the AMD chart up here, but looking at the 2-pass rule, see how markets are behaving. So with the Genesis bar compared to RB3, we're getting a little bit bearish on some markets. Our contrarian indicators, metals, showing a little bit bullish. And then coming down through our stocks, a lot of weighting. So even though Apple's kind of bucking that trend as we saw from the ETRs, we'll see how things go. All right. Click back to the main page. And see what we've got. Lost sound. I think the sound's still up. Can everybody else still hear me? Okay, we're going to start wrapping this up a little bit, but let me see if I can go ahead and answer some of these questions. And after we're done, I think Adam's got a bit of a video for you guys, kind of a tradition here. What time frame does the two-pass rule use? Well, it's using, it's comparing reference bars. Basically, you're looking at RB3 compared to the Genesis bar. And prior to that, I have a reference bar in there at 6 o'clock. I've got my offset reference bars in blue, my main reference bars in white. That's because I like darker color backgrounds. If you go to Tom's screen that he was showing earlier, he's got brighter color background, so he uses a darker color reference bar. Just, you know, whatever stands out, whatever works for you. So we've got the reference bar frame. So let me see if I can just add that in here. Where is that? Horizontal lines? Or is it, no, reference bar lines. Grab the RB frame. And what that does, I need to change those colors around, but it grabs the high of one reference bar back and the low of the current reference bar. That just happens to be that way if it's moving in the opposite directions. So it's grabbing the highest high and the lowest low of the past two reference bars. And kind of giving you an insight into how that market looks. We've already pushed down, but notice we're trying to climb back. Really interested in the high of the Genesis bar here, which is 63, 67, 75. That's kind of a breaking point in the market. NASDAQ looking the same way. But this is, the RB frame is there for that purpose. Now, I don't like my charts getting too cluttered up because I'm almost a pure numbers person. So I like to keep my charts kind of clean. And let's see if we can go through. I'm just going to take off that RB frame. But if you need that for a visual reference, it is there. I know Tom uses it a lot because he's got several different markets that he's looking at. And if I'm going over and checking out what just a random stock looks like, or even a stock that I follow, but not quite as closely as the E-mini S&P, the RB frame is probably going to be very important there. With the E-mini S&P, I just go with the numbers, try and keep it as clean as possible. I like to use the compass function, right? That sort of lets me know what's happening with the market, but I put that in together with my understanding of numbers. So my roadmap probably looks a little bit different than other people's, and that's okay. Your roadmap is probably going to look a little bit different than mine, and that's okay. What you want to find is what works best for you. And the beautiful thing about the roadmap software is whether I'm using it to put together a pre-market planner or to observe the current market I'm in, I can set it up to do what I need it to do. I can even have, you know, different workspaces, different looks, different tabs. Come over here in charts. This is where I'm doing a lot of the research specifically on the S&P. ETRs lets me know how the most recent reference bars have formed up. It looks like gobbledygook to you. Believe me, I'm a numbers guy, so it makes sense to me. You might want to have things looking a little bit differently. Click over to sunrise. That's going to be a different aspect of what we're looking at very early in the morning. Have the ability to focus in. I can change this chart to whatever I'm paying attention to. Was paying attention to AMD this morning as well as everything else. But everything comes back to the most beautiful part about the roadmap software is how versatile it is. So if you don't have roadmap software, let me encourage you, contact someone, ask them about it, because I had a situation where my data was out for like 2 days earlier this summer. And I've never been so lost because I still had all the information available to me. I could go through and find out where any market was trading, but it wasn't as fluid. It wasn't as easy to use. The ease of use, the versatility of this software is shocking. Use it for planning, use it for trading, use it for understanding. And SP sends out about the roadmap software. I've had it for a while, still learning its features. I feel the exact same way, SP, because every time I turn around, Tom's got a new thing that he wants to add into the roadmap software, and it's like, oh, wow, I'm glad he thought of that because I didn't. So that's nice. Like that 2-pass rule. That's a great little invention. Chart that shows the reference bar times. Let's see. Well, I mean, we could look at set times, but I think that Jonathan would probably have a good list for you on that. I think there's a white page that goes into the details of what DTI recommends, and I'm going to leave it there because there's a few things that I get into that might be a little bit more cutting edge. So I'm going to say this: when you're starting out, go with the default, because that way whoever you're talking to knows exactly what you're talking about. Some of my settings get a little bit avant-garde, like the colors, for instance. And if you're trying to talk to Jeff about how to set your colors and his colors are completely different, there can be some confusion. Same with Jonathan. You know, they can work around it, but for ease at the start, go with the default, because that's what our customer support specialist and everybody is trained on. So they're trained on the default. You got guys like Jonathan and Jeff who know more, but I would certainly recommend starting on the default. And Adam, I understand you have a video ready to present for us.
Yep, we're gonna play a video on the Weekend Profits Club. The trade comes out tomorrow, so this will kind of cover what that service is all about for you.
Okay, great. Well, let me go ahead and stop this share. I'm going to turn the room over to you. Marge, yeah, the resource sheet, we'll see if we can get that updated into the room for you. Link to the white pages for the roadmap. And here's your video. I will see you guys tomorrow.
We're going to be talking about what Tom calls the weekend side hustle today, and I'm very excited about this. Tom, like you said, new and improved, and it's a new way to target income over the weekend with any regular brokerage account, which I think is really exciting. I love this strategy, and I'm glad to get to sit here with you and talk about it. So before we dive in, the profits and performance shown are not typical. We make no future earnings claims, and obviously anyone can lose money in the markets. The majority of the trades expressed are from historical backtested data in order to demonstrate the potential of the system. The average backtested return per weekend, winners and losers included, that's a big sentence there, winners and losers included, is $1,592 of profit per weekend based on a 5K starting stake. But you don't have to spend 5K if you don't want to. Every example is based on that same starting investment unless otherwise stated. The historic success rate, Tom, 84%. Incredible stuff you're doing here. Of course, we can't guarantee any future specific results. There's always a high degree of risk involved in trading, and you can go to the DTI homepage.
Yeah, and as we're talking today, I want you to remember that number, $1,592 by following this process. I mean, do the math on that. You just got to get excited about it.
Absolutely. And then one more time, in trading, there are always going to be losers. There's not a black box miracle system that prints out winners automatically. We've always been transparent about that. Tom's completely transparent about that. Whole purpose of what Tom's doing is to work with traders and help give you an edge, which is what we're trying to do today. But if you don't think you can handle a losing trade, then don't trade with real money. Do some paper trading, follow along however else you want, but don't put your real money on the line. So if you don't know me, I am Prosperity Pub Editor-in-Chief, Stephen Ground, and I'm excited to talk about what we're diving into today. Before we get going, take a close look at this redacted document from CBOE. What you're looking at is a special perk set up by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange in the last few years, a perk that now allows everyday folks to target extra income over the weekend from any regular brokerage account. I'm talking about payouts that our study shows were worth $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend. That means while the rest of the world is left empty-handed on Saturday and Sunday, while the stock market is closed, we have an opportunity to target extra income over the weekend while still getting the most out of life. Like on March 27, 2025, not long ago. Could have taken a few minutes to place a quick trade before the weekend hit, maybe hit the road for a weekend camping trip, and come back Monday with an extra $2,524 in your brokerage account. Then the next weekend came, April 3rd. You could have set your trade, booked your favorite bed and breakfast for the weekend, and woke up Monday with a crisp $2,500 in extra income.
Starts adding up.
It sure does. A few days went by, then you can do it again. April 10th, not long before my birthday. Hit a few buttons on your phone or laptop to get in before the weekend hits. Then you could have taken your closest friends out to dinner on Friday, covered the greens fees on Saturday. Tom, I know you'd enjoy that. Picked up brunch on Sunday, and when Monday came, instead of dreading the start of your week, you could have come back to a cool $2,528 in extra income sitting in your account. Now, before we get too far along, I want to be very clear. Again, there's nothing guaranteed in the markets, right? There's no instant income magic pill. Tom, if there was, you would have found it by now, I think. But just like with anything in the stock market, there's going to be winners and losers along the way, and you need to be prepared for that. But that's why, for the next few minutes, we want you to forget about being the next overnight millionaire, because financial freedom doesn't happen overnight. Happens bit by bit, in this case, weekend after weekend. And with what my special guest is about to share with you today, your weekends could be just a little bit more enjoyable, knowing that when Monday hits, we're out of the trade. So really think about this. What if there was a way to target an extra $1,592 on average in extra income each and every weekend? All by taking a few minutes to set the position before the weekend hits and clocking out on Monday. Thanks to a shocking discovery found inside this document, it's now possible. Welcome to the Weekend Side Hustle.
You gotta love that name.
Absolutely. Now, as I mentioned before, my name's Stephen Ground, and in my job, I get to work alongside a lot of the world's top trading experts. It's a true joy and privilege of mine, and I'm constantly on the hunt for strategies that could help me, a relative beginner, make trading simpler. And also, help the folks out there. So when I heard about this new way of generating income over the weekend, I knew that I had to explore it more. It's a legal way to target cash over the weekend while most folks out there are left making zilch, or worse yet, giving up their weekend to do some other kind of side hustle. So if you're looking for a way to target extra income to help pay for everyday expenses or just to help boost your retirement nest egg, then this may be perfect for you. The man behind this new discovery started his professional trading career back in the 1970s. In 1992, he was one of only 50 professionals to be handpicked by the CME to receive his very own Globex terminal. And he even helped manage a firm so successfully that it was eventually bought out by the $1.3 trillion institution Morgan Stanley. Now that he's walked away from Wall Street, he's been on a mission to help everyday folks tap into some of the same methods that have been kept away from the average Joe in the past. And just hear some of the very best stories from some of his other students following his work. Like Bruce L. from Texas, who said, "When I follow you, I make money." Tom is committed to helping you all the way through the trade. Then there's Bob E., who said, "The program is amazing, up over 2K today." Or how about Emmanuel O. from New Mexico? "You're a great teacher, Tom. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work." Those are some of the best stories from students following along with none other than trading legend Tom Busby. You've seen him on Bloomberg, CNBC, CNN. He's the author of 3 incredible books that I recommend to everybody. And Tom, I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Well, Stephen, it is great to be here, and thanks for having me on today. Now, today, we're going to empower you, though. And I want to show you how, just with a few minutes of your time, a couple clicks inside your brokerage account, you could set up your very own weekend side hustle inside the stock market. One that has shown the power to pay $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend. There's an opportunity. And the timing for this brand new briefing couldn't have been any better. Right now, some of the hardest working folks are getting destroyed by inflation. And the cost to buy an average home has increased 70% in the last 6 years.
Oof.
So even if you got a raise last year,
Yeah.
it probably doesn't feel like it. It's making much of a difference at the end of the day. Thanks to inflation, we're seeing things like credit card debt hit all-time highs. That's left folks looking anywhere they can to generate extra income to cover their bills and their expenses.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible to keep up with the ever-rising cost of living anymore. Most folks think that the only way to generate extra income, hey, get a second job at Costco or working overtime hours or late weekend nights.
Yep.
But with what I'm about to share with you, you can now start your very own weekend side hustle right from the comfort of your sofa. And right now, I think everybody needs that side hustle.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you have a multi-million-dollar retirement account or just starting out with a few $1,000s. All you need, pretty simple, standard brokerage account, raise your hand if you got one, internet connection, raise your hand if you got one, and a few minutes to set the trade before the weekend. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to invite you to kickstart your very own weekend side hustle. Before we get there, take a walk with me back to February of this year.
All right.
In the back half of February 2025, the stock market took a terrible nosedive.
Yeah, we remember that.
Now, let's say someone had $5,000 invested. That's the amount we'll refer to show you the power of this with every example. Now, in the middle of February, the S&P was in a terrible fall. Over the weekend of February the 20th, folks taking the trusty old buy and hold route would have lost money.
Mm-hmm.
But if folks would have followed along with the process of the weekend side hustle, they've seen a much different story. Look at that, $2,524. Well, the S&P was falling, $2,520 went in your brokerage account. And the very next weekend rolled around, same exact story. The weekend of February 28th, the S&P lost $84.50, NASDAQ $115, small caps $140, and NVIDIA lost $445, got crushed. But what we're going to share with you today on that same weekend, you could have hit it out of the park with this process. $2,528.
Look at that.
You choose. Which one do you want?
Not a hard question, Tom. 2528 is a meaningful chunk of change. And think about it. Thanks to years of inflation, everyone in this room right now has felt that. The cost of living has gone skyward. It's out of control. Even if you were comfortable 5 years ago, you're still feeling the squeeze. In fact, just since 2021, we've seen the monthly average mortgage price nearly double from $1,316 all the way to $2,207 a month. And for a lot of folks, I'm sure that feels low. That's nearly a $900 increase every single month. And it's not like people have a lot of extra change laying around to cover the difference either, not unless you're sitting on a pretty good nest egg to begin with, and even that's being eaten away. But folks who would have taken advantage of the weekend side hustle that you're talking about, they could have more than covered the cost of the average monthly mortgage without needing to slave away at a desk job working extra hours to make it happen, right? Instead, you could have done it all while enjoying life to the fullest over the weekend. And keep in mind that $2,528, that would have come in while every major index, small caps, and even the Magnificent Seven were in the toilet.
That's right, Stephen. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let me just say this. If you have a job, I'm not telling you to quit it.
Right.
If you've been steadily saving for retirement, don't stop. What I'm sharing with you today is a way that could help you supplement your income with a new technique that I don't think anyone else is using. If you're here right now, you're probably, pretty smart individual. You're looking for this. Like any investment strategy, there's risk. There'll be winning weeks and there'll be losing weeks. That's why our team worked extra hard to optimize the method behind the weekend side hustle. Now, of course, no one can guarantee future returns, but when you account for all the weekends so far, from the study, winners and losers included, we're looking at what could have been, on average, $1,592 in extra income each weekend. Just like what we saw back on the weekend of February 13th this year. Had you taken a few minutes to place a trade before markets closed on Friday, a key part of the strategy, you could have spent your free time on Saturday and Sunday, maybe skiing in the mountains, and come back after weekend to do this, $2,523.
Tom, I want to put that in perspective for all the folks at home here, because that's an incredible number. The average household has just north of $6,400 a month in expenses. Maybe some folks out there feel like that's low. And I'm talking about things like healthcare, food, transportation, clothing, just the bare necessities, right? Meanwhile, the average monthly income in the U.S. is only $4,901 every month. Now, how can anyone possibly keep up with that? You can't, right? It's mathematically impossible. And that's a huge income gap many folks can't fill right now. But this weekend side hustle project, it could help everyday people fill that income gap and then some. And the last three examples alone, the ones you just showed us, which happened back to back to back, you're looking at what could have been more than the average Joe brings in each month. Average salary $4,300. Weekend side hustle $7,577 on just three trades.
That's just three trades.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay attention. That's just three trades.
And that's more than enough to
Right.
cover the average monthly expenses that we just talked about.
Right.
And that means that most importantly, the money that you worked your tail off for, folks at home, to earn, for yourself and your family can actually be used for the things you want to spend it on. Or you're simply building up the rainy day fund, which almost nobody has right now.
Stephen, this is why I get excited about this project, and that's why I'm on this mission. And this mission is to show you how to unlock this little known income opportunity hidden right there in front of that redacted document. Now, you can take advantage of all the new weekend side hustles right away, starting this very week. It's going to happen in hours.
Mhm.
And based on our research, you won't be able to target these types of steady returns anywhere else. Most financial advisors or local finance gurus in your town might lead you to think that the only way to hit your retirement goals is to stash money away in a trusty S&P fund or a mutual fund and hope it grows enough for you to be able to retire. But unfortunately, that's just not getting the job done anymore.
No.
Do the math. At 6% annual, it would take 41 years for a pretty sizable 100,000 invested to hit $1 million. And sadly, $1 million simply isn't what it used to be. In fact, a recent study suggests that the American dream costs 4 times that much.
Wow.
That's hard. That's
Hard
a
to
hill.
believe.
That's a hill to climb.
Yeah.
And retirement. Well, sadly, it's a pipe dream for many folks. That's why people are working longer.
No.
Millions of people, young and old, have been forced to delay their retirement. Now, forget about retiring at 65. Far too many folks will be forced to work well into their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, whether you're retired or just starting out the workforce, you need to pay attention
Mm-hmm.
because you need a weekend side hustle to have the opportunity to fill that gap that's being created through no fault of yours, targeting extra income over the weekend while most folks are left without a way to earn extra buck from the markets. And so far, the results from our study are outstanding, with a success rate north of 80%.
And what do you always say when someone has a success rate of 80%? You need to listen and take notes, I believe.
Listen and pay attention. That's like cashing in with extra income 4 out of every 5 weekends. That means you can target this weekend income regardless if the stock market goes up, down, or flat. That's the beautiful thing about the strategy. Take the end of last year, for example. Before Christmas, the markets rose $2,530.
Not bad.
Weekend number 1. And following the weekend, Santa Claus rally stalled and the markets fell. What happened? $1,275.
Didn't matter at all.
And each weekend we have the same opportunity. It fits into our process, like over the very next weekend when the stock market barely moved, $2,500.
Look
There's
at
a
that.
pattern here.
Absolutely incredible.
And I'll show you that pattern, thanks to that special type of trade over the weekend we're able to collect, even if the trade goes slightly against us.
And Tom, in the case of just those 3 examples you just showed, I mean, look at that, 2530, 1275, 2500. Folks could have had a chance to pocket extra income over the weekend, regardless of whether the market goes up, down, or flat. And keep in mind, folks, you could have spent the weekend doing the things you love, just like Tom here does. Maybe that means spending some extra time tossing the football with the grandkids or going to Disney with Paula, your lovely wife. Maybe that means a relaxing round of golf with the guys on the weekend. Or maybe, as you just wrapped up here in the last couple weeks, maybe it means coming down to one of Tom's world-class coaching sessions to hang out with other awesome traders just like you.
And I want to make a comment. You know, a lot of people really tout what we did last week.
Mhm.
All you got to do is ask the students who were there. We had like 94% of those signed up for next year.
That's amazing.
That's an amazing stat.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome about this weekend side hustle. However you choose to spend your weekend, that's your choice, because you know that Monday has just become your new favorite day of the week, which is saying a lot for folks. So,
Right.
Tom, it's time to spill the beans here. What's making this all possible?
Well, Stephen, as I've told you, it's thanks to that special perk set up by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange in the summer of 2022. In fact, up until this announcement, the weekend income opportunity really wasn't available to folks like you or me. But now they've unlocked it for the everyday Joe, those that listen for years and years to come. What the CBO did was they launched daily options on a few tickers that we can use to target income over the weekend. Now, don't worry, you don't need any special type account to do this. You already have access to these inside your regular brokerage account. Just need to know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
These daily options allow us to specifically target income over the weekend, closing it out on Monday. And if everything works out, we know we have a chance to target an extra $15.92 by the time Monday hits.
Love that. That number's crazy.
Just like in the final weekend of January. All you needed to do was set your trade on Friday, January the 30th, before the markets closed for the weekend. Again, a key thing you have to do. Sure enough, by the time Monday hit and the cash fund settled, hey, 2,523.
Not too bad.
And don't worry, place your trade with the weekend side hustle, no different. Maybe trading Apple or Amazon. Simple, straightforward. Now, this is a good time to remind people, no strategy wins all the time. That's why you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. But my goal is to do everything within my power to show you how this works and help you limit losses when they do occur. After all, nobody likes to place losing trades.
Of course.
That's why our team and worked tirelessly over the last few months to get this method for you and me for good times and bad. And I'm happy to report that after analyzing over a half year of data, the final study shows it's small account friendly. $100 minimum position size, $15.92 average weekend payout based on that 5,000, and the success rate. This is what I love touting the most: accuracy, 84%, with
That's
built-in risk management.
really, really unbelievable, Tom. And I know you're a pretty humble guy. You don't brag on yourself a lot, but in your career, you've been able to help a lot of extraordinary traders across your services. Some of your happiest readers, like Dick and C, have written in $1,930 in profit in less than 4 days. My top money-making strategy. Or how about Jim P, who said total of $2,060. Great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. So Tom from Jim, he says thanks. But what we're covering here today, this works a little differently than anything else you've done before. So Tom, tell us, how does this really work? What are you doing here?
Well, see, first you need to understand when most people think of the word options, they think about buying options.
Right.
There's always two sides of the coin. But instead of just buying options outright like most people do, I use a special type of trade on these daily options to collect premiums on other people's risky bets.
Okay.
And no, it has nothing to do with naked options. Think about all those massive insurance companies like State Farm or Progressive.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the odds. They just sit back and collect those insurance premiums on folks month after month. We're doing the same exact thing, but in the stock market.
Okay.
When the odds are in your favor. Taking a weekend paycheck by collecting premiums on other folks' risky bets time and time again. By the way, I collect these premiums in the stock market is very unique. You see, with CBO listed these daily options, they priced it in such standard way that premium each day, the way it counts. Tuesday, option, 1 day worth of premium. Go to Wednesday, very standard. Collect 1 day each day. But what if you did a different type technique? And most people do this because it's easy and simple doing that, but they don't realize how much money they could be leaving on the table. I didn't realize it until I did the work, but because frankly, there's a better and safer way to do it. You see, by entering before the weekend, collecting income from Monday options, we get bonus premiums just for holding over the weekend.
Makes perfect sense.
That's like instantly tripling your odds on something working for you by the amount of premium you collect in the process. And get this, because the market is closed on Saturday and Sunday, you're able to sidestep a lot of market action.
Yeah.
but you still get paid for all 3 days. Just like what would happen back on April 17th. Could have spent your week staring at charts. I've done that. Banging my head against the wall. I've done that. Hoping to find that edge late at night. Or you could have taken about 30 minutes of your time to place a special type trade to collect the bonus premiums over the weekend. And gone off to enjoy your life. And sure enough, well, folks invested in S&P 500 made nothing over the weekend. 0 return, zilch. With the weekend side hustle, you could have cashed in with $2,500 on that weekend.
That's not a hard choice to make there.
Yes, if you do the math you did on the house payments, it's like 2.5.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can just go out and you just can't go out and blindly pick options to make that happen.
Right.
If that were the case, everyone would be doing it. You just have to know which trades to place, when to place those trades, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know to start your very own weekend side hustle right away. Because right now, we're already determined everyone needs a side hustle.
Absolutely. That's so true.
Doesn't matter where you live, who you have your brokerage account with, or you've been trading for 35 years or longer like me, or just getting started. I'm holding a live step-by-step workshop to show you exactly how to start targeting these payouts with the weekend side hustle. It'll include full details for how to place your trade, make your trade work, and how to upgrade your account, what you need to do to manage your risk so you can start using this technique in your account today. And I'd like to invite folks out there to join me for free today so you can start taking advantage of the weekend side hustle right away. And once you get your hands on this step-by-step video course, you'll be shocked how clear-cut it really is. You'll immediately be able to start using it this very weekend, just like we could have done on April the 24th. After just hitting a few buttons, you could have locked and loaded for the weekend and have your trade work. Just select a trade, send it off, back to your normal day. And sure enough, by the time Monday hit, the weekend side hustle could have paid again, $2,119.
Tom, will any regular brokerage account do the job here?
Yeah, any regular brokerage account works. They all work. In fact, the government even allows this unique strategy to be used in retirement accounts.
That's an awesome advantage. Tom, I have to tell you, the weekend side hustle is something I definitely want to start trying right away. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone needs a side hustle right now. It's a lot easier than DoorDash. In your career, you've been no stranger to showing folks results just like these in the past. Just hear from some of the top stories from your students following along in your sister services. There's Ken, who said, I love its simplicity, a great tool to trade, picked up an extra $3,200 today. Or Robert, who said, over $2,000 today, everyone should be a part of it. Or how about Hugh T from Minnesota, who sent in this $3,656 in single day profit.
He was so happy.
Absolutely. You can see it there.
Yeah. Yeah, Stephen, those are amazing stories. But I can't wait to hear from Ken, Robert, Hugh, and many others once they get started with the weekend side hustle. That's why I agreed to sit down with you here today to share this way and share it with the world, to show people how to start using the weekend side hustle to help radically boost their income. And today, the folks out there can claim access to this live workshop so they can start implementing this unique strategy in their own accounts. That's the beauty of it. Just by subscribing to my flagship Weekends Income Service. We call it the Weekend Profits Club.
Love it.
This service is solely dedicated to targeting extra income over the weekend, thanks to that special perk set up by the CBOE just months ago. One that's shown the power to pay $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend there's an opportunity. Now today, I'm hoping to bring in about 100 new members from wherever you are, all walks of life, whether you've been investing for years or just getting started. Every single week, I'll give you my best weekend income opportunity. Stay tuned. One that I would personally recommend to my closest friends and family. Folks, that's up to 52 weekend income opportunities every year.
Absolutely. And each one of those is based on the same method that your study has shown. Again, listen to this number, an average of $1,592, winners and losers. Every weekend, there's a setup.
Hey, I'm holding nothing back. In each Weekend Profits Club alert, I'll break it all down for you, step by step. The ticker, when to place the trade, the options criteria, interest and exits, all in there. Each income alert will have clear instructions on how to place the trade. We do all the hard work to find each income opportunity for you and just read each alert and follow along if you choose. Just like what would have happened on May the 8th, a few weeks ago. Look at that. Get it, send it out there, the trade alert right in your inbox. There it is, weekend side hustle. All you had to do is take the trade. You could have spent your weekend maybe playing golf, working on that short game, or practicing for the next pickleball tournament. And by the time Monday hit, an extra $2,522 while the S&P went down. That's the kind of strategy you want, not market dependent.
Right.
And don't feel like you need to be sitting next to your computer all day long. I'll post a trade each Thursday around noon. The window actually goes from Thursday around noon to Friday's close. You have plenty of time to get in before the weekend hits. I want you to experience the Weekend Profits Club to be as hands-free as possible. Of course, alongside the email alerts, I also include cell phone alerts. So while you're out and about, you can always take advantage. And the next weekend rolls around, May 15th. You'll have gotten an email, taken a trade if you choose. And sure enough, anyone who'd gotten in on that one would have made $2,200.22. Wow, I like that number.
Incredible. Tom, between just those two trades that you're talking about, that could have been an extra $4,745 after just 2 weekends. I'm just sitting here imagining what the folks out there would have done with an extra nearly $5,000. Maybe paid off some debt, helped out their kids or grandkids, maybe even started planning their next vacation.
You know, great choices, always have choices, but maybe the most important thing was not having to constantly worry about having enough money all the time.
Absolutely.
You know, huge burden for folks right now. And that's why I want to include another very special piece to your membership. You see, unlike most stocks out there, CBO specifically set these options up to include special tax benefits. Listen up, folks. This is another reason I like it. Where you can save money on taxes that you would otherwise pay to Uncle Sam if you were trading other popular tickers like SPY, QQQ, Apple, and others. All you need is that standard brokerage account, internet connection, and a few minutes to set the trade before the weekend. That's why I'll also be including a very special report that shows Your Money Matters, how to automatically save up to 25% on taxes from the weekend side hustle.
It's a huge difference.
Inside that report, you see all the ways you're entitled to save money come tax season. And don't worry, if you follow along with the trade alerts, your broker will automatically do the savings for you when you get your final year-end report. So instead of paying a big fat check to the government, keep more of your hard-earned risk capital for yourself right in your pocket.
I'm almost speechless. The Weekend Profits Club is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And again, just between those two trades that you talked about just most recently, we're looking at what could have been another $47.45 in extra income, just over 2 weekends. And this isn't like missing out on Amazon in 1999 or even NVIDIA in 2021. These opportunities just happened. And that's just after 2 weeks. As a member of the Weekend Profits Club, you're giving folks up to 50 more weekend opportunities. So I have to ask, will new memberships cost around $4,700 per year?
Now, Steve, I firmly believe it's worth every penny of that. But before we talk price, I want to highlight maybe one of the biggest benefits of being a member to Weekend Profits Club. You see, there's something I haven't mentioned yet today, and it takes the Weekend Profits Club to a whole new level. While we normally target extra income over the weekend, closing out on Monday, sometimes the trade is just so good, we get paid before the weekend even hits. Now think about going into the weekend with your money in your pocket after you took the risk on a Friday with extra cash already in hand. That's a total game changer.
Totally, absolutely is.
That's exactly what happened in one of my favorite examples, March the 6th. As a member, you would have received a trade alert on Thursday around noon. And sure enough, by the time Friday hit, the trade was so good that me and my team chose to lock in the gains before the weekend, pulled down another $2,500.
Yeah, you'd have to choose those.
That was good. Now, for anyone out there who would have loved to head into the weekend with that extra $2,500 in your pocket, here's another special bonus for you. We call it the early payday exit plan. Inside this special briefing, I'll show you how to set your profit target so that your trade will automatically close out at your desired price once we hit our goal. That way you can set the trade, walk away to enjoy life, and I even include exclusive information on how to automatically help protect if it goes against you.
Tom, I have to admit, I mean, that's the cherry on top of this Sunday. This membership is really, really special. And your students absolutely love the materials you put together. I got to sit with a bunch of them last week and hear some of their stories from folks in your various trainings in the past. Ed P, we see him a lot, easy to follow entry and exit signals. The benefit is more than their trading success. And this is what everybody always says. The program has given me confidence that if I had to rely only on my trading to make a living, I could do it. Think about how big a burden that is on someone's shoulders.
Huge place we take people.
Exactly. Kenneth P said, Tom's an excellent coach, trainer, and trader, easy to follow. I'm 110% a member for life. I love those stories.
You know, we have some remarkable stories. Now, of course, regardless of how good the research results show, not every trade's going to work out, so you should never risk more than you can afford to lose on any one single trade. And luckily, you don't have to. You can take the weekend profit clubs for as little as $100 on average. And if you start small, I'm okay with that. Whether you're starting with $1,000 or $1 million, I want you to focus on the trainings and understand the process. I'm teaching you to fish. Getting the hang of these straightforward weekend profits club opportunities. You can always start small and scale it over time. And that's why it doesn't matter who you are out there, whether you're young or whether you're old. If you've been trading for 10 years or just getting started, I want to invite you from wherever you're coming from to jump into the Weekend Profits Club. Take one of those 100 spots. And based on the last 4 examples I've shown you, add it up. $9,363 per year on those 4.
Unbelievable.
Now, for the new members today, we're not going to run anything close to that price. That's why you got to be one of these 100. It's a chicken, fish, or steak moment. Get the discounted price. Be part of this as we roll it out for the entire world to unlock the full potential of the Weekend Profit Club. New opportunity coming to your inbox. Starts on Thursday, ends on Friday, gets in there just before the weekend hits.
Tom, I bet these spots are going to fill up very fast today.
Well, let's just say they should fill up fast if people are sitting there thinking, I need to know this process. I better learn it.
Absolutely. So what's the price going to be then? $5,000 for a year feels way more than fair for this.
Well, forget about paying $5,000. Forget about paying $3,500. In fact, members who join through the main website get everything they've seen for $24.97.
What a deal. That's incredible.
But folks watching right now, we're live, get an even better deal. You see, after analyzing more than a half year of data, I have to admit, it's exciting. We're blown away by the results of the Weekend Profits Club. In fact, if you take all the trades, all the trade examples, winning, losing weekends, all take it. $39,794 and some odd cents. We didn't put that there. Okay? Keep in mind that the same time frame, the S&P actually went down 3%.
Right, this has not been a pretty year so far.
Yeah. Then you look at the Weekend Profits Club on the right-hand side, $39,794. Notice the increase that we're doing with the strategy, down $150. You choose. Now, it's not even close. And that's exactly how it's been designed, that no other investment approach comes even close. For time spent, money paid. But with that said, I want to be very, very clear. If you hope to become an overnight millionaire, this is not for you. If you want to gamble on risky stocks, this isn't for you. In fact, I'm hoping that the Weekend Profits Club will open the door for many folks out there that never thought trading was an option for them. Gives them that extra income, that side hustle income. And that's why I'm not willing to charge an arm and a leg for you to join today. Which brings me to one final bonus. I know that program at $24.97 is a phenomenal value. And I know people might be struggling there, and paying north of $2,000 is still quite a lot of money. However, you may not be comfortable spending that much right now, but I don't want there to be any reason anybody out there can't join. Ultimately, my goal is to see students pay off their membership. I call it a scholarship as soon as possible.
And Tom, when you talk about scholarships, you've had plenty of your students do that in the past.
Yeah, just ask the people that were with me last week.
Bob from Cutler Bay said, "Thank you. This has been the best service. I've already made back my entire subscription cost in just 2 weeks." Or how about Whitney, who told us, "I made my cost of subscription plus $500 in my first week. I'm very grateful to have found you."
If you're watching right now, I want you to have the same experience as Bob and Whitney, but I want to help you get there a lot faster. Special bonus, the Weekend Profits Club, here it is, Founders Discount. Today, if you join and take one of those spots, I'm inviting you to join right now. If you take action, it won't be the $24.97 like the online retail price. You'll get a complete access for more than half off. That's right. Today, I've shown you time and time again how the weekend side hustle is an integral part everybody out there needs to have in their account. It opens the door to extra $1,592 in weekend income on average each time there's a setup. So when you join today, right here in this room, you'll get complete access to the all-new Weekend Profits Club. Only $1,592 for founding members. Look at that.
Wow.
But I have to warn you, it's a limited time special. All spots will fill up fast. No hesitation. So if you're ready to take action and be with us and put the Weekend Profits Club to work for you, then go to dtitrader.com/WPC. Or you can call 904-706-3532, get any questions answered, or simply click in the link in the chat and get on board.
Wow, Tom. I mean, that's an unbelievable price. $1,592 is the average trade result for winners and losers. But in many of those examples you showed us, you're making, 1.5 or 2 times that. That's unbelievable. So folks, go to dtitrader.com/WPC right now or call 904-706-3532. I'm sure Adam just dropped the link in the chat. Tom, this is unbelievable.
Starting right now, you have the opportunity to kickstart your very own weekend side hustle. Because everyone needs a side hustle.
Absolutely.
What will the first weekend income opportunity be? Well, only the founding members are going to know that one. And while we can never promise any future gains, just take a look at what happened back on March the 13th. The alert would have hit your inbox. That's the process. Thursday at noon. You had plenty of time to get in before the weekend. And in case of this signal, it would have been yet another winner before the weekend hit. $1,105 weekend income. Imagine going into the weekend with an extra $1,105 in your hand. And then off to enjoy your weekend just a little bit more than you did before.
It's really, really incredible stuff, Tom.
Yeah, don't miss out on your first weekend income opportunity. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC, or you can call 904-706-3532.
We've got a really great team of experts too standing by. If you have questions, we're obviously going to dive into the chat here in a minute and go through some frequently asked questions, but the easiest way, just call our team. They're standing by to help you. Tom, I love it. Look at all you packed into this. It's really unbelievable. And folks, just hear some of the top love letters Tom's team has received over the years from folks in his sister services. Like Whitney, she said, "I made my cost of subscription plus $500 in my first week. Very grateful to have found you." Or how about Jim P? Total of $2,060. Great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. Ken said, "I love its simplicity. It's a great tool to trade. Picked up an extra $3,200 today." How about Emmanuel O? "You're a great teacher. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work." Those are some of the very best stories so far, Tom, and I absolutely love this next one. Kenneth P says, "I think he captures you here perfectly. You're an excellent coach, trainer, and trader. You're easy to follow." And Ken said he's 110% a member for life. And we hope that you will be too. So go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532 to get started. There's an weekend income opportunity coming up in just a couple days here. So people want to take advantage of that. And now, folks, once you take one of those founding memberships, don't close the next page. Because on the next page, Tom set up an opportunity for you to be just like Kenneth and actually upgrade your membership to lifetime. And I highly recommend doing that. I'm sure Tom highly recommends doing that, because with the incredible savings on the founding membership, with data like this that we've already talked about, small account friendly, $100 a month or per trade minimum position size, $15.92 average weekend payout, winners and losers included. And as you said, that incredible 84% success rate. Spots are going to fill up very quickly. So make sure you order today. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC. Call the team 904-706-3532 and kickstart your weekend side hustle today.
Remember, Steve, we're going after the bonus premiums in the market. I'll show people how to do it, something you can't get any other day of the week. And because the market is closed on Saturday and Sunday, we're able to sidestep a lot of market action. But you still get paid for every day you're at risk. Just like what would have happened back on weekend of April 17th. You could have spent your weekend staring at charts, banging your head against a brick wall, hoping to find an edge. Or you could have taken about 30 minutes of your time to place a special type trade to collect the bonus premiums over the weekend. Taking your closest friends out to dinner, covered the green fees maybe on a Saturday, and picked up brunch on a Sunday. What a weekend.
Absolutely.
And sure enough, hey, $2,500 in weekend income. That's a healthy payday for a Monday.
Absolutely, Tom. And I love one of the things you said there, cutting out that volatility during the week, because
Right.
everybody knows right now we're living in a world where, just for example, the president and the world's richest man can get in a little fight on Twitter and sink the price of Tesla and DJT and drag down the whole markets overnight. But by trading over the weekend, you don't have to worry about that. Sure, there will be news, but it's not going to affect the markets because the markets are closed. That's just
Yeah, and
another
that's
thing I love here.
a unique thing about from Friday to Monday you'll learn. And I'm going to teach you, and don't be fearful that you won't know how to do these type trades. They're step by step the way I teach it, and I think got a pretty good track record of teaching people
Yeah.
about options and how to use options the correct way.
I don't think anyone's ever left one of your strategies saying, I didn't know how to do it.
Exactly.
You're a very, very good teacher. And now, folks, it's time to make a choice. What Tom calls chicken, fish, or steak. You mentioned that earlier. You can go back to doing whatever it is you've been doing, struggling to keep up, or just watching the nest egg get eaten away by inflation, putting your full faith in the markets, the economy, maybe worse yet, the government, hoping for the best.
Right.
Hoping that it helps fill the massive hole in our pockets right now. Look at this, a record number of Americans only making their minimum credit card payment.
We're going to change that. Join this weekend side hustle right now. Don't hesitate.
Absolutely. Or you can do something better, something new, and start targeting weekend income this very week, up, down, or sideways. Choice is yours. What are you going to do, right? If you want to take advantage, you go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. That's certainly what I'd do. Tom, I know you've had a lot of happy people do it in the past. We're going to dive into the chat here in a minute, see what folks are asking. But first, Tom, let's run through some FAQs if you don't mind. How much money is needed for these trades?
Well, the trades average around 97 cents. And as you've seen today, that means most cost less than $100 per
That's
option.
incredible. You can scale that up as much as you want.
Absolutely.
But
That's
just
what I like about it. Easy math, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Will every trade be a winner?
Of course not. No strategy wins 100% of the time, but according to our tests, these weekend Profit Club alerts have shown the power to be extremely profitable for folks who stick with me and the system.
84% win rate according to that testing. Now, should folks be worried about more downside in the markets this year?
No, that's the beauty of it. We'll play the market either way it wants to go. We're not holding positions during the week. We're going from Friday to the next week, and we're targeting extra income over the weekend when
Love
the
that.
markets are closed.
Love that. Can we trade these in an IRA or 401k account?
And that's the beautiful thing about it. It's retirement account friendly. And if you're using a not normal account, any regular brokerage does the trick.
All right. Well, what's this weekend's income trade?
Hey, I'm sharing that information with those that join today's founding members.
I tried to sneak that one past him,
Yeah.
folks, but he's too quick. So how do folks start their own weekend side hustle in the stock market then?
Pretty simple. Click the link in the chat, and then I'll show you step by step until we get to the trade how to do it.
I love that photo of you, Tom. I bet it was right on the green after that shot. All right, folks, one more time. We're about to dive into the chat here, but this is limited time on the best pricing, only 100 spots that I'm sure already many have filled up. So go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call the team 904-706-3532. Adam's dropped the link in the chat. You can click it there. You can type it in if you like to, take the long way around, but take the easy way and join the Weekend Profits Club, whatever you do here, because it's a really, Tom, you put together something truly incredible here, and I'm
Oh, this is a
honored
great
to be a part
program.
of it.
Great program.
I'm going to pull up the chat here and see if we've got some questions
Sure.
for folks. All right. Well, folks said the audio was a little low, but I think we solved that. Tom, what are you looking at as far, setting up these trades? Is there something that you're looking to see, or is it a consistent process that you're following weekend?
Well, that's a beautiful thing about it. It's a consistent process. I tell people if you get the trend right, that's over half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
People will say, Tom, how do you know what the trend is? Well, the market's a 24-hour market, and you just can't watch 8 hours of it. You got to watch all the 24 hours, and you got all week long to nail that portion of the market. Then you do the setup that's going to pay you when you put your dollar up. To hopefully you get back $1.30, $1.40 off the dollar you put up,
Mm-hmm.
and you do that same process. It's almost like a routine. Like brushing your teeth every morning. Hope everybody here brushes their teeth every morning. But the whole
I went
point
to
is,
the dentist this morning.
that's what made me think of that. But the bottom line, folks, you get started here, and you will notice on these trades how cool it is that you're able to do this in the way we do it.
Mhm.
Nothing complicated, very simple, and it happens like clockwork every week.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And
Yeah.
speaking of clockwork, you said, the window is Thursday at noon to Friday at close. But folks at home really don't have to worry about that.
No,
right? They
I'm
just
watching
have to-
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're doing
Because
a little work.
until everything lines up, I don't issue the trade. But I keep you informed. Like, we'll send out a message, hey, no trade today, we'll come back tomorrow.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's so
We
cool.
try to keep people in the game.
And something I didn't know about at all, Tom, and got a couple of questions about it. This tax benefit that you're talking about. Can you tell us a little more about
Yeah,
that? 'Cause
sure.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. Representative Roskinkowski in the 86 Tax Act put this in there.
Look at that.
He
I would
said,
never know.
he said the following: you can take 60% long-term gains, 40% short-term on certain qualifying trades. We're using qualifying trades here, so immediately we feel that requirement. A lot of people don't even know it today. You didn't know it, right?
I had no idea. No.
Yeah. So knowing that little insight with the right index gives you the ability to take advantage of that. So you get to keep more of your money.
I love that. That's really, really powerful. And like you said, I wouldn't have had any clue. For folks who are just getting started, maybe they're not familiar with options, you're going to walk them through exactly what they need to do.
Oh, absolutely. And for those that like to work on their own time, I've got a whole course I give you. We didn't cover that in the slides on what I call options made simple.
Mhm.
What I did, Stephen, there were so many questions about options, and you got textbooks on options. You got different biases, how to teach options, where they go off on mathematical and lose half the audience. Mine's pretty simple. Okay. If you get the direction right, you make money. If you get the direction wrong, you lose money. So the idea is to figure that out, and I'll show you the steps that you can put the odds in your favor. You saw the accuracy rate, 84%. You can go to bank with an 84% accuracy rate.
Absolutely.
And plus, it's not, what I love about that, it's not as bad on your psychology when you know that those are the odds of you making a decision to put your money at risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, for folks at home that are worried about like the level of access, cash account, is this possible in a cash account? What do they need to know in terms of setting up their account to make it possible?
Well, it's very simple. You just open an account with a broker, and there's several of them I like. I'll share those with you. I like the Thinkorswim account from Schwab. I like the account from Tasty Trade. I like the account from a company called Tradier. There's a lot of different brokers out there that don't charge you an arm and a leg to do a simple transaction.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So, David,
yeah, I paid.
Good ask.
You're speaking of
answer
that.
to your question.
And I'm going on a side note here, but I was doing these trades where my IRA was with at the bank, And I said, what did it cost me? How did I lose $1,300 on a stop that only lost $1 on? Oh, she said, the transaction cost. I said, are you serious? I'm paying $300 to get in, $300 to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Not long, I'm at Tasty Trade after
Yeah.
that discussion.
Yeah, I mean they'll gouge you
big.
if you're not paying
I got
attention.
gouged.
So, and that's a legend that's getting gouged.
Yeah.
So
I
you gotta
wasn't
be
paying
careful.
attention. You got to
Yeah.
pay attention to these things, the cost of the
Exactly.
transaction.
Dean asked, when are you closing if the trade goes on to a Monday? Is it at target? Is it the end of the day, the opening? What's this philosophy
Yeah,
there?
what I do is from the initial entry, I put a good to cancel order in, Dean, and let it play out. That's the way I do it.
And that means that if it hits the target,
We're out.
closes itself, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's another advantage. You don't
Right.
have to sit by your computer and hope. I
Right.
was watching a trade.
And I got a rule with options. I tell everybody my rule, and if they write it down, any option I do, I'm not going to stay in that option, unless there's an exceptional reason beyond 72 hours.
Mhm.
So 72 hours would be the longest
That's
I'd stay.
perfect for this.
Yeah.
Those good till canceled orders, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
good to
couldn't
cancel.
live without.
Yeah,
because I
the
can't
good to
sit there.
cancel orders are going to take you out no matter what you're doing. Because a lot of people, I found this out with customers, a lot of people don't put an exit order in,
Mhm.
and it goes to the target. And then by the time they think, oh, I got this trade to go look at, they come back, it's already hit its target, and now it's a loser, and they end up selling it at the worst time.
I was about to say, I had a trade literally this morning close on OKLO.
Yeah.
Exactly that happened. If I hadn't had that GTC order, there's no chance I would have seen it.
You know what
Closed
keeps
it,
people from putting an order in? Greed. And you
Yeah.
got and you got to balance greed with fear. And here we're just playing a process. It's numbers.
Right. And you've
Let
seen,
the numbers work for you. I'll show you how to let the numbers work for you.
and the numbers are incredible. 84%
84%.
win rate.
You saw it.
1,592. And again, we didn't even really hit this that hard, but that's winners and losers included.
Right.
So even if you take a loss, which of course we talked about, that's going to happen, you're still averaging 1,592 per week.
Yeah, if you stake it at 5,000 like that, or
you know,
more.
2,500, you're averaging
Or more if you put more on.
750 a week or so.
Yeah.
It's really incredible, Tom, what you've got here.
I think somebody learning how to trade or whatever can scale it up to their comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beautiful thing about this.
Well, and that's the thing, Tom. I want to brag on you a bit because I've had the fortune of seeing a lot of your education, whether it's live or over the web. You know, it really doesn't matter. You make an incredible experience for everybody. And your team, you've cultivated the best educators. It's not just you. It's Jeff Smith. It's Jonathan Rowe. It's Chuck Crow. And it's all the supporting staff that make that possible. You know, I really believe the price of the education alone, excuse me, is worth a lot more than you're charging here when they're getting 52 trade alerts.
Yeah,
with it,
I say, and I'm motivated by that, and that's why my customers do better than most because they're educated.
Yeah.
After I get them educated, they're not just taking a trade blindly and put it in. They understand it. They get a feeling for it, and you know, it's sort of like anything else. You get that experience.
Yeah.
And experience the right way.
Right. I mean, I've had the fortune of meeting a ton of your customers. Just last week, I think we had dinner with Bill, who's been a customer of yours for 20 years, 30, long time.
Long time.
He makes the drive
I
from.
talked to him today.
He makes the drive from Shreveport to out here in Jacksonville every time you have a class, and you're not just doing that for fun. You know, you're doing that
Right.
because you're getting a lot of value out of it. And
Sure.
And he's not the only one. Carol, there's a ton of folks that follow what you do and get an incredible amount of value and education out of it. And Weekend Side Hustle, Weekend Profits Club is now, you know, just the next opportunity.
We've
for
been
that.
waiting,
So-
folks. We've been waiting. I've been pushing them to get this released, and we finally got it released because I did a tweak to the old strategy, and it's just made a difference in night and day.
Don here said something I think you'll love, Tom. He said, hit a bunch of singles instead of swinging for the fences every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a better way.
Sure, with the options, you know, people, the pull for options is, hey, you put up a little bit of money, make a lot. That's not the way it works. Put up a little bit of money and lose a lot because you're going for that home run. The way to make money with options is you have a consistent profit zone that you take your profits on and move on. Reinvest that money in another good play. People make a big mistake. I did when I was learning. I just wanted to hit that home run, right? And, you know, you kept striking out, using a baseball analogy. But the idea is get on first base, like Don said, then get on first base again. Pretty soon you got the bases loaded and you start cranking it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw your money away, you can follow my parlays on hockey or baseball, and There's a reason we don't sell that service because nobody would buy it. But if you want to invest your money smartly in a consistent strategy that's showing results week after week, Weekend Profits Club is the place to be. You can go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. We've got a team of experts that are standing by. Renaud, Sean, ton of folks that are listening for your call. Caitlin, a whole team, 10, 12 folks that are standing by. And they've all got Tom's, direct contact info, my contact info, so they can get answers to your questions whenever they need it. Tom, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm probably one of the few guys been in this business a long time. I like talking to you because it gives me feedback how to make what I do better for you. And I have created a lot of great friends in this business because I like talking to the customers.
Yeah. I mean, you absolutely do. You really spend time with folks, and we love that about you. So, Tom, anything else you want to say to the folks here at home?
There is one thing I want to say. Folks, get started now, and I'll see you on the flip side.
That's his signature sign off. All right. Well, thank you all for being a part of this. One last time I'll walk through. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. It's only $1,592 for the first 100 slots. I haven't even gotten an update on how those are filling up, but I'm sure it's fast. So make sure you take advantage. You're getting 52 trade alerts per year, the early payday exit plan, the tax benefits, everything that's included. Tom, this is incredible, and I can't wait for folks to get started. So thanks for having me here. Thanks for doing
Steve,
this.
it was fun doing it with you, and folks. We'll see you on the other side.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.